Talks on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life station. You can be part of the conversation this morning by sending your messages via WhatsApp on 0809 4440981. You can also give us a call on 014489 and we are streaming live on YouTube. Yes, at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. So you can catch the live stream right there on YouTube. So this morning we're talking about plastic pollution in Nigeria, a looming environmental crisis. And with me to discuss this is Chief Lekan Bakare, and the founder of Lekan Bakare Foundation. Let's go to the phone line. Lagos wants to talk this morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. Drop call. It seems the network wants to get a bit iffy. You can please try to call us back. We would love to hear from you. 0144899981 is the number. Meanwhile, there's a message on WhatsApp here. There's no name attached to it, but it says, thanks to Chief Lekan Bakare for taking time to speak on plastics pollution. And of course, we're great to have him here to have this very important conversation. Okay, David Olaniyan is his name. All right, so Chief Bakare, as we're talking about before, looking at the environmental consequences for plastic pollution, and of course, we've spoken about how it's very cheap in Nigeria, and we have this culture of we want to go to the shops, we are given nylon, but we go again, another one. In fact, we're having this conversation off the air before we got back on when you go to a shop and then you buy something really small and then you're given this huge nylon bag to put it in, or you are given separate bags when all the things can be put into one bag very, very easily. So there's a cultural edge, or should I say there's a human edge to this, and we can also attribute it to the people not fully understanding the consequences of pollution caused by plastics. Now, how much has been done over time, or how much advocacy is out there right now in order to educate Nigerians, educate people all over the country about the dangers of plastic pollution? Because not many people understand. They just see, oh, I have a lot of nylons, because people have nylons in their homes. It's a thing of pride for many people, but not an ideal situation.
Yeah, well, sadly, just like we were discussing earlier, it's an attitudinal problem. We tend to go to the shops and we tend to, buy 3 or 4 different articles, and we put everything, each of them in one single, in 3 different bags, nylon bags. This is waste. Where we can be wasteful, and all this, just for you to be able to carry, 3 items to your home, and then you now dispose of them. They create a very big menace. They all end up somewhere in the drains, and it's something that we don't want, because at the end of the day, all this affects, they cost a lot, even to the government, because at the end, during this rainy season, you find a lot of floods, the drainage are all clogged up. The government are spending lots of money in clearing all the drainages and everything. And then it becomes a cycle, and then we still carry on doing the same thing. Shocking that we don't we don't dispose properly. They all end up in the wrong place, and it's just a cycle, and we need to break the cycle. There are a lot of recycling companies doing a whole lot, with regards to clearing out all these plastics and recycling them. There are lots of companies or foundations doing a whole lot of advocacy. Even the government as well, they're doing a whole lot on advocacy. We as well at Lekan Bakare Foundation, we're doing a whole lot on advocacy as well. We go into classrooms, talk to kids in primary school, junior secondary schools, senior secondary schools as well. We also, focus on our marine life conservation, and we try to get images from underneath the Atlantic, our own Atlantic Ocean here, and bring out pictures of the habitat we have there, and we show them to these children. It's something we are very strong in, what we've been doing. But again, talking to fishermen in different riverine areas, they will tell you how they used to have a couple of years they had big catch, but now the catches have reduced, which is sadly it's part of the things that we man-made, which I will call it. I was talking to somebody who was recently telling me that he lives in or I think Abeokuta or somewhere, in Ogun State, and that the problem they have there as well is this attitudinal problem that many of their waste they just chuck it into the river and there, and don't forget this river it washes down to Lagos and ends up on our our coast, our Atlantic
the coastlines,
coastlines and everything. It's really, really sad. So it's not just about Lagos, it's about every other state as well in Nigeria. So it's a domino effect. So, if we are clearing plastics here, recycling here, doing a whole lot of advocacy here, but it's the same is not being done in other states of Nigeria, then, it's we're just kind of fooling ourselves. But again, there's a whole lot going on with regards to advocacy. The different, even the royal homes as well are putting a lot. The Elegushi royal family, His Royal Majesty Obasaida Ademola Elegushi, he's doing a whole lot as well with in terms of advocacy in this area. Even the Oniru royal homes as well. They're doing the KBC is also doing a whole lot there as well. So it's a joint effort. It's a collective effort. And it's something that we'll all have to put in, all our best in. We have to change our attitude. Have bags at home, reuse them. No need to take new bags. If you're going, for one, if I go shopping now, I have a carton in my bag, in my car. So everything I buy, I don't take nylon bags.
Just puts into the carton.
I just put everything in the carton. I don't use nylon bags again. I don't even like them. If I go to shop and I do have to buy takeaways, I don't do styrofoams. There's this plastic that I could pay the extra for and keep it. I tell my staff to always take those plastics back, and or if they want to buy any food or something, they should take what we have at home. Going back to a couple of years back, growing up, I remember there was nothing like plastic like that. We take our plates, to go and buy food or something. Even in secondary school, they had the aluminum plates, not plastics. So the way the whole trend changed and we got to this stage is really something that we should, the cost to worry about. But going forward, we need to all learn that these things are, the big problem. If we don't do something together, if we don't do something about it, it won't get any better. And we are all in this together. It's not about the rich or the poor. The same thing that applies to people living in Banana Island is the same thing that applies to people living in Agbado, Keodo, and the mainland, and all parts of Lagos and Nigeria.
All right. Now, I'm actually glad that you talked about the styrofoam because it seems to be something that we can't escape from. Everywhere you turn to, there are styrofoam packs. I remember, or I know that at different times that I've been to some markets in Lagos, on Lagos Island, and so on and so forth. And then those open canals, it's like a sea. You don't even see any water or anything. All you see are styrofoam packs, a large sea of these packs. Now, looking at how detrimental these packs are, of course, they're cheap, because I know that when people go to buy food from eateries, maybe by the roadside and whatnot, they prefer to buy the styrofoam packs because they're way cheaper than the plastic packs. But looking at the consequences of them clogging up all the drains and ending up in all sorts of places that they shouldn't be, shouldn't something be done particularly about them?
Well, I personally think, they should be banned. I personally think they should be banned because they also help us out there. Don't forget that even when they get into our ocean, into our water, our seas, the fish, they eat them. Now you nowadays we've been finding, little bits of these things, in fishes, and it's something that we eat fish. This is dangerous to our health. I'm not a medical expert, but it's something that maybe I've heard that could cause cancer. So it's now making our marine life unsafe. Seafood now that we all enjoy is slowly becoming something that is not safe again for us to eat. And it's a major source of concern. Styrofoam should be banned. That is just it. I don't personally believe that, there's an alternative or whatever. Styrofoam should just be banned, and let's just put it that way. And I hope that the legislative of Lagos State and other states in this country, and also the federal, could have a look into this and do something about putting an end to styrofoam in this country.
All right. There's a message here on WhatsApp. This is from Okweyemi Principal, and he says, "Good morning, Chief Bakare. Thanks for taking time to talk about this, and your effort is greatly appreciated. My worry is with the grassroots, particularly our open markets where nylons are heavily used. What efforts are being made to educate the market women, and what kind of alternatives are there for them?" Another one here. What an inspiration. Okay, this is from Mr. Shonobi. Austin says, "Good morning. In China, if you go to supermarkets to buy something, they will give you discounts if they don't put the item in plastic bags. In China, many people go to supermarkets with their own plastic bags. I did that myself when I traveled to China as well. I think if we can introduce monetary rewards or not collecting plastic bags from shops, things will change." Thank you, Austin, for your message. Are you in agreement with that that assertion, Chief?
I was in Kenya recently, and I went to a shop to get some things, and I wasn't given a plastic bag. They had a different kind. It felt more like a paper kind of bag. And I thought, okay, maybe it was a one-off in that shop. And I went again to another shop a couple of days later, and they gave me the same kind of bag. And I had to ask, I said, don't you guys use plastic here? And the response was as clear, not in Kenya. And that got me really thinking that, it actually could work here in Nigeria as well. It's all about our attitude. In Germany, for example, on every, now, in Germany, for example, on many glass bottles, plastic bottles, your Coke bottles, your sodas and all that, there's a fee attached to it. So if, for example, you go into the shops, you buy yourself 3 bottles of Coke or something, let me use Coke for an example, and you drink them. When you're done, you take them back to any shop and you get a sum back. It's called Fund.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's called Fant, and now you can imagine if that is introduced in Nigeria, that every single plastic bottles you see around, they have, like, if you return them, return them back, you get 100 naira on them. Just an example. Now, I'm sure a lot of people would always, you go to somebody's house, they give you a drink. When you're done, they collect their plastic bag from you. Because, for students as well, we've all been to universities. We've all been students as well, So when maybe during period where there's a looter, for example, and you're all broke, you start looking for plastics around, or all those plastic bottles you drank, you bought, you carry them back to the shop, you get some money off it. This will definitely help as well. I personally think that, in the market, the grassroots advocacy has to be done from the local government, to the royal homes, to the government agencies, to the NGOs. Everybody has to work hand in hand in, spreading this awareness, this advocacy there. And, they're already, I know that there are many NGOs that is also doing that, just like ours. You've got Reswaya as well, doing a whole lot with women in rural areas as well. But alternatives, it's get rid of nylon bags, get people to, reuse, get people to, reduce, get people to recycle, get people to come back to the market with their own bags. There are different kind of, you've got your tote bags, you've got your cloth bags, you've got different kind of bags. Get people to bring them back.
Different alternatives are
different alternatives.
All right.
It doesn't have to be nylon.
It doesn't. All right. We're talking plastic pollution in Nigeria, which is a looming environmental crisis. And having this wonderful conversation with me is Chief Ganiu Lekan Bakare Legushi, and founder of the Lekan Bakare Foundation. Lagos Talks will continue shortly. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Picture forward back. We're taking another break. Then a short musical interlude, and then we'll come back in. But this is actually very interesting. This idea of being paid to not use plastic bags. It's actually very interesting one. Of course, I think it's working in foreign countries because, well, I guess there's a level of quote unquote sanity there. But I just try to think how would it work in Nigeria. I'm just trying to think because people might want to take advantage of, that scheme and begin to do funny things to get bottles. I don't know. I was thinking wide in terms of that.
If you hear that people are actually starting to use plastic bottles, then I think we're doing something. Because obviously it's going into something because it's something very good. The laws just have to be passed, and just something need to conform with.
Your sound is a bit muffled. I can only hardly hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can
yes,
you
it's
hear
back.
me? You
Yes, I
know,
can.
the laws, it's just very simple. The laws are there. If the legislation firm can make those laws and to get these companies, the manufacturers to conform to it. If Coke, for example, is saying that for every bottle there's 50 naira if you return it, or let's say there's 10 naira if you return it. Now you can imagine that having 10 bottles gives you 100 naira. Everybody would also, it will change our attitude. So anywhere you go, you if you before you want to, you want to throw it out of the car or chuck it into the bin, you give it a second thought that, hey, hold on, I'm throwing away money. Put some monetary value into it. It's something that would really kind of like encourage us. Um, and all these plastics will go back to the manufacturers and they would recycle it and reuse it, and we won't have this problem again, or the plastic bottles ending up in landfills, just like what we're seeing today, or in our waterways and all that. It's a big issue. Pure water is another one.
Yeah.
To be honest, pure water, I don't know. I personally prefer it to be banned. Let's just get rid of it. These single-use plastics are harmful and dangerous.
Okay.
We can't get rid of them, but we need to reduce them.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Because if imagine pure water being banned outright, an outright ban, people would go up in arms that the only water we can afford to drink and so
Yeah,
on and so on.
exactly.
Can't afford to buy table water, blah blah blah. So it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery
It's a
slope.
slippery slope.
And
It's a slippery slope.
it also boils down to the economic realities
Yeah.
as well. That is another consideration, because people will tell you that I can't afford to spend 100 naira or whatever, or 150 or whatever, to buy a bottle of water. Let me just buy my pure water, JJ, and I'll be
Yeah.
okay. That is
It's
what
like 20 naira or something like that.
I think it's 20 naira now. I for one sachet, I believe now.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
just
but I think again it's just about our attitude. There's a whole lot of advocacy that still has to go into this, but we need to change our attitude, towards this. We need to enlighten the people. People need to be aware. That's why we at my foundation we focus on the grassroots, because we believe in catching them young. And when we want to see kids go home and tell their parents, "Daddy, don't throw that away in the bin. We have to recycle this." We're trying to, there are different NGOs trying to put out a lot of receptacles in different estates out there where people can just easily dispose of their plastic waste,
yeah,
and they get picked up.
something that's been going on, because in my estate where I stay, we have those receptacles now. So what I just
Eh,
do is any plastic bottles at home, they just get packed into a bag.
Yeah,
And intervals, I just go there to just
exactly. And that's the change. That's the change that started. I'm sure about 5 years down the line or 4 years ago, you didn't have that receptacle. So that's that change that we're talking about. Now that change has to go, it has to, filter down. It has to go, you have to find them everywhere in Lagos. And for us to see a huge improvement.
I also think that apart from us changing our attitudes, there has to be some form of enforcement. It's difficult. It pains me to say so, but it has to happen, because we've proven over time to not do well unless there's some sort of strong arming coming into play. For some reason, Nigerians don't do well unless do this thing by force. If you don't do it, this will happen.
Yeah.
There's this aura of no consequences of actions, or consequences to actions. So people just really do anything they want. So enforcement also has to
Oh,
come into
well,
play.
yeah, enforcement definitely. But the question is, how many people can you arrest?
That is just the question.
You
All
know?
right, we'll go back to live right about now. All right, welcome back to Lagos Talks on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Your love music, love a live station. That was musical interlude Asha telling us fire on the mountain. And yes, we are looking at that sort of situation if we don't take action, if we don't do what needs to be done where plastics are concerned, because there is a looming environmental crisis. We're talking about plastic pollution, and with me is Chief Lekan Bakare, the Arolegushi and founder of Lekan Bakare Foundation. We're talking about how we can deal with plastic pollution in Nigeria, which is quite a major issue. Of course, today is World Environmental Day, with the theme for today is solutions to plastic pollution. Under the campaign hashtag beat plastic pollution. Plastic pollution, we really need to beat plastic pollution. But anyways, you can be a part of the conversation this morning by sending us your messages via WhatsApp on 0809 4440981. The studio line to call us on is 01 4489981. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube, yes, at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. So you can catch the live stream there. So those are the ways that you can be part of Lagos Talks this morning. I'm going to go to WhatsApp here. This is from Jeff. Jeff says, okay, I think I've taken that message. Let me check here. Okay, no. Okay, Jeff, I'm taking Jeff's message. He says, in South Africa, you are charged for plastic bags, and if you don't want to be charged, you are instead given a paper bag, which is very degradable. We need to adopt the same approach. Mr. B. Shonubi says, Chief Bakare, plastic bag waste poses serious environmental and health problems in humans and animals. The situation is worsened in economically disadvantaged countries like Nigeria, especially Lagos. What are the immediate solutions? On the other hand, awareness is to push governments towards more stringent legislation, which promotes the preservation and protection of the quality of the environment for future generations. A call is coming in. Let's take this one and see. I hope it sticks. Hello, good morning. Good morning. What's your name and your location? All right, Frank, welcome.
To do a lot more recycling. Almost all types of plastic are recyclable. Unfortunately, my company, we recycle a lot of plastic, but we can only recycle few because the technology, we don't have all the technology. But if the government encourages people to recycle, a lot of the plastic can be reused, can be recycled and then turned into other products. Like I see in some countries where plastics are being used to construct roads. Right now, we recycle plastic and we use them to produce other plastics. But we know we can do a lot more. But the government doesn't appear to be so keen. They only keen mostly in they talk about it. There is nothing to really show that they want to encourage a lot more people to go into plastic recycling. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for your call, Frank. Much appreciated. Keep listening to Lagos Talks. Chief Bakare, I hope you heard what Frank said right now about me, trying their best to recycle. And he also spoke about the government, which is another very important aspect which we need to talk about. Of course, it doesn't really seem like the government is on top of this issue in terms of the looming problem or the looming environmental crisis that ignoring plastic pollution could actually cause. Now, what exactly is the government's national environmental standard and regulations enforcement agency, that's the NESREA, actually doing about this? Is these whatever regulations are there and whatever laws are there, are they even being enforced at all?
Well, I know that laws are being enforced. For example, in Lagos State, you have different government agencies, especially the LOMA. I know that there's a whole lot of effort from their side with regards to encouraging and supporting recyclers. I know there are also recycling associations. You've got the IRAN, the Recycling Association of Nigeria, and there's also the LAGRA, the Lagos State Recycling Association. And I know that they are very active. I'm talking about what I know. I know, this plastics, they can be recycled into, I've even seen plastic being turned into bricks that you could use to make build houses. But for the recyclers, the like what Mr. Frank said, that his business, his organization do, that they're not getting enough support from the government. Yes, I know that there's still a whole lot that the government has to do. In their, I don't know if they have their own association but that encouragement, the government needs to do more with regards to encouraging recyclers in general, the government of this country. But I do know that the Lagos State government are doing a whole lot, and I think it will be good for Mr. Frank to also inquire, go around and inquire, about, there might be incentives out there for them. I'm not sure, but I think. But it's always worth to, because sometimes I found out in this country that, we don't ask a lot. There's some things out there that, you're entitled to, but if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. So it's always good to inquire. But again, the federal government, the state government, they still have a lot to do. And, we just want to make sure that we just hope and we will encourage them, we as an NGO, to bring it to their front to say, listen, there's still more to be done in these areas and we won't relent in what we're doing.
All right. Now, talking about the state governments, the federal government, in your opinion, what do you think, or what do you feel that they could be, should be doing in order to make this push or this advocacy more of a success?
It's like I said, it's a collective effort. Lagos is very big. Nigeria is very big. It's not just about the federal government alone, the state government, but it's also us. It's not really about what the country can do for us, but what we can do for our country. And that's the issue. That's, with regards to this plastic issue. If we don't encourage ourselves, or we don't learn, or we don't, develop our minds, we won't grow. And, it's a partnership with the government. The government has their own bit to play. They have to, lay more emphasis on the advocacy, talk to the grassroots, especially in the grassroots, the local government that have a whole lot of work to do with regards to this plastic, this issue. They need to talk to their people. They need to, up to the councillors, the ward, this advocacy has to get there. It has to be intensified. And the recyclers, there are quite a lot of recyclers in different parts of Lagos as well. They need to let them know that, in your area, there's this recycler. I've seen an app where, just like an Uber app, where if you have plastic bottles in your home, you can download this app, click on it, it should automatically connect you to the nearest recycler around your area, and they'll pick up your plastic bottles. It's there. This app needs to be encouraged. It's called, goodness sake, the name, Packham. It's called Packham. Exactly. I've used it as well. It's there. We need a whole lot of such apps as well. The government has to encourage, things like this, tech in this issue, in this regard now. It's not only about fintech, but let's look for tech in recycling areas. Let's look for tech in advocacy areas and all that. So a whole lot still has to be done. Yeah.
Let's go to the phone line really quickly. Hello, good morning. All right, Frank, welcome back.
by encouraging people to segregate the plastic. So people, if there is a way to incentivize people to separate the plastic according to the types. And it helps because we, the recyclers, what usually happens that you get a mix of plastic. And it's difficult to separate this plastic once they've been crushed. We get plastic in crushed form. And by the time you get there, you find out that too much of it that you can't use because you can't separate them easily. But if they are being segregated at the source, it really does help a lot.
All right, thank you so much for calling back in, Frank. Would you like to respond to that, to Frank's issue?
Yeah, I mean, sources, separating them as a source, yes, so that's part of the advocacy. What Frank is basically saying is that, you want to throw away your plastic, make sure that they are clean, put them in clean bags in one section. Don't let them get into the bin. Maybe remove the caps, remove the seal from the bottle, so that, they are all in different bags. So that by the time it gets to them, when they are going to crush it, it will be clean bottles. They don't need to do that work of separating, and then they won't have any sand or something in them that could affect their machines and all that kind of stuff. That's I think it all boils down to where he's sourcing his plastic from. I don't know. And secondly, it's advocacy. At the end of the day.
Advocacy is very important. All right, Chief Lekan Bakare, really quickly, your organization, the Chief Lekan Bakare Foundation, devotes its time to environmental activities. Now, could you just really quickly let us know what your group has been doing, and of course, what more you are looking to do in the drive to end plastic pollution in Nigeria?
Yeah, well, we're doing advocacy. We're doing a whole lot of outreach to primary schools, secondary schools. We're talking to the kids about marine life conservation. We're trying to teach them the kind of what we have in our marine life. We're talking to fishermen, looking for ways in order to help them to boost their catch. We're trying to talk to the government with regards to laws, making laws in maybe restricting or bringing to their attention issues regarding this problem. We are also looking into our waterways mapping. We want to map our marine life, our waterways, our marine life. Sorry. We're focused on that as well. We're focused on like as I've mentioned, the Blue School project. We're also from time to time we do our beach cleanup, but for us it's not really about beach cleanup. For us it's about the laws. For us it's about teaching the young ones.
All right, it's about catching the young ones.
It's about catching the young ones. Yes, exactly. Because if we can change them, change their attitude.
All right, now that sounds really, really inspiring, and I really hope it's something that gathers momentum and snowballs into something huge, where we can see a society where plastics and plastic pollution becomes something in the distant past. Thank you so much, Chief Ganiu Lekan Bakare, for joining me this morning to have this conversation. Chief Ganiu Lekan Bakare is once again the Arelegushi. He's the founder of Lekan Bakare Foundation as well. And yeah, we've been talking about plastic pollution in Nigeria, which is a looming environmental crisis. Thanks for taking the time out to join us on Lagos Talks this morning.